What's the time say? 5:02. Time has come. Thank you. I declare the meeting open. And in accordance with the normal procedure 1.1, just to remind you that in accordance with Local Government Act 1993, Cowra Council is recording this meeting and will upload the meeting to Council's website. Therefore, by speaking at this meeting, you are agreed to being recorded and having that recording published in the public domain. Please ensure that when you speak at this meeting, you are respectful to others and use appropriate language at all times. And obviously, Cowra Council accepts no liability for any defamatory or offensive remarks or gestures made during the course of this meeting. 1.2, we acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land in which we gather, the Wiradjuri people, and pay our respects to the elders past and present. 1.3, apologies and applications for leave of absence. We have two apologies, one from Councillor Paul Smith and one for Councillor Ruth Fagan. Both there are on personal leave or holidays, and I move the apologies be accepted and leave of absence granted. I can see Councillor Kiss and Councillor Delbo. Nobody else was accounted for, so there'll be no others. So I'll put the recommendation that happen. Those in favour? Against? Declare it carried. Disclosures of interest, 1.4. Any disclosures of interest? Cork in the hop. My apologies. I want to declare a disclosure of interest on item 5.3, donation to Cowra Japanese Gardens. As acting chair of Japanese Gardens, I would rather this be dealt with by council, and also that evening at this reception I'm beneficiary of an award, so I would declare a non-pecuniary interest, personal nature, and I'll leave the meeting. Any other declarations of interest? No other declarations of interest. We'll move forward, and we have no presentations, but we have one item, 1.6, in public forum, registered, and I invite Lucy to come forward, please, and address the meeting.
Right there, boom. Thank you, Mr. Mayor and councillors, for this opportunity to present my request for financial assistance for my play Intertwined. For those who don't know me, I'm Lucy Austin. I'm a wife and a mother and a creative living here in Cowra. And Intertwined is a new piece of Australian theatre that I've written about Cowra to be performed in Cowra for its world premiere by people living in or connected to Cowra to continue on the legacy of Cowra. The play will be a part of the Cowra Breakout Association's official program for the 80th anniversary of the commemorations next year. It will be performed the week before the breakout, which is the 22nd to the 29th of July 2024 for the performance, so as to not clash with any of the other events over the official weekend. So far, everything about this play has been either self-funded or funded by generous community donations. And today I'm seeking your help by asking you to please waive the fee for the hire of the Cowra Civic Centre. The current quote for the hire for that week is $4,418. And at the time of my initial application, I had included rehearsal time at the Cowra Civic Centre, but Club Cowra is now hosting these, hence the difference in the current and the initial quotes from the Cowra Civic Centre. Not having to pay this would mean that this money could be spent on other expenses that I currently have, such as insurance policies, paying actors and musicians, admin costs, running the website, all things that I'm currently generating income or support to pay for. I'm actively trying to honour and preserve Cowra's history in new and creative ways. I have a passion for the story of peace, unity and reconciliation that we know the Breakout legacy tells. The play is about community engagement. The local high schools have already been contacted about the potential for special school performances and workshops that week. These would all be held at the Cowra Civic Centre. I'm also seeking to engage our local Indigenous community by incorporating first-hand accounts from some of Cowra's Indigenous elders. I'm currently spending every day of my life working on this project, as I have for the past 14 months, in order to bring a completely professional, interesting and inspiring show to the stage. And having Cowra Council's support in this matter would mean so much to me and all who are involved in this project. So thank you for your time and your consideration in partnering with me to bring Intertwined to life. Thank you.
Thank you, Lucy. Any questions? Thank you. That's the only registered speaker we have, so we'll move on to the meeting. So we go to item 2 is confirmation of the ordinary of the meeting 24th of July 2023. 2.7 about 1 minute. Refer to the one meeting. So I move those minutes be confirmed, please. Councillor Smith, Councillor Downing, thank you. Now, are there any questions or comments about those? I'll put the resolution. They be adopted. Those in favour? Against? You declare it carried. And I'll sign these and get them off the desk. Thank you. Page 16, colleagues. Which is the General Committee recommendations, and the first one is from the Director of Infrastructure Operations, which is regards to 3.1, 355 committee minutes to tidy towns. Councillor Smith, I'm sure, will move they be noted. Does someone want to second that, please? Councillor Aaron Watt, thank you. Is there any additional comments from the committee meeting?
Thank you. I'll just mention, since I've been working on it today, that the Tidy Towns RAFCA competition, the Recycled Art competition, has its fun day and awards day on Sunday the 17th of September, and it's going to be just out here because we're using the Nullaway room this year rather than the Aquatic Centre. All councillors and Mannix will be receiving an invitation, and you're all very welcome to come along, as are all members of the public. Thanks.
Any further comments? No questions, no comments. I'll put the resolution. All those in favour? Against? Declare it carried. We'll go to 3.2, which is the Traffic Committee minutes, and there's a couple of recommendations there which we discussed. Councillor Paul Smith's not in the chamber. Does someone want to generously move those, please, as is in the document? Councillor Downing, thank you. Seconder, please. Councillor Kiss. Any question? I'd ask Councillor Downing to speak to this unless she chooses to, but she may. But if you have any questions, instruct the Director.
Yeah. I don't think I need to speak to it. I think that it clarifies lots of the stuff that we went through in our other meeting, I think, in our committee meeting. And I think Councillor Smith explained it fairly well there. So I don't think there's any questions come from there.
Thank you.
Unless anyone else does.
Any questions or comments? We can ask the Director. No questions or comments. I'll put the recommendation. Those in favour? Against? Declare it carried. 3.3, Access Committee. Sure, Councillor Kiss will move these. A seconder, please, to support that one. Councillor Judy Smith. Councillor Kiss, any comments?
Just briefly, Mr. Mayor, yes, look, we did discuss this in greater length at the General Committee meeting before for the minutes of 21st of the 6th and the 24th of the 4th. And in general, I just wanted to say that we are kicking goals. We are really doing well in the Access Committee, and it's just great to see everybody feeling good about their achievements and looking forward to the next projects that we've got happening. And yeah, it's just a great place to be. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further comments? No further comments. I'll put the recommendation. I was in favour. Against? Declare it carried. 3.4, National Resource Management Advisory Committee. Councillor Peter Wright, I'm sure, will be quite happy to move it. Thank you. The seconder for him, please. Councillor Delbo. Thank you. Councillor Wright, you wish to comment? What date was that again for the drone? The drone was on, sorry? Yeah, at Moronga when, sorry?
I'm practicing being at home when Marianne can't hear me. So. Yeah, no, on the 20th of September, we're having a drone display day and education day, and there's a local business, this Ag Drones Australia, a couple of young fellows got a business going, and they're demonstrating what can be done on farms and recreational areas, and even I think they have done work up in the Peace Precinct. So it's just opening our eyes to what can be done.
Thank you. Can I suggest you might talk to the general manager and to the communications
Yeah,
officer to get some publicity, because I think there's a fair bit of merit in a lot of
Yeah.
agricultural areas would probably
Yeah.
benefit from this kind of technology in some form or other.
I'll
Not
speak to the
necessarily
chairman and get
spraying
him.
crops or putting out fires, but
I'll speak to the chairman and get him on board.
if you can get him on board, it'd be a big feat. Any further comments? Any further comments? No further comments? No other questions? Comments? I'll put the recommendation. I was in favour.
Aye.
Against, declare it carried. 3.5 from which is the DA in regards to DA 56/2023 in 7 Morgula Street, 2 lots. Moved Councillor Smith, second Councillor Downey. Councillor Smith. Sorry? After I called Councillor Smith to move it, I got moving and seconding. I'm happy to move it. Sorry. That all I did. I've gone 3 months since I've done it. My apologies.
They both start with D.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and whoever seconded. This comes to council because it does not quite meet the open space requirements, and one of the what's the word? yes. One of the site frontage requirements. Thank you, folks. I've been put off by the mayor. That's mine. However, it doesn't miss them by much, and it's been sufficiently justified, and I believe that it's important that we get a mix of housing types in Cowra. We certainly need as much housing as we can get. There are plenty of people for whom these 2 houses would just be perfect, I believe.
Thank you, Councillor Smith. Councillor Delbo.
Thank you. Through the chair, I just wanted to agree with Councillor Judy Smith's comments around a mix of housing availability in our town. This development application is an excellent example of what can be achieved under the ageing in place principles. It's a very mindful development to assist our older residents in our community that do not need big homes anymore, or do not need large yards to maintain. And I note that there was no objections with this application, and that there are 30 conditions in place. So thank you.
Further comments? I'd reply, probably not required. I put the recommendation. All those in favour, it's the DA colleague, declare it carried unanimously. Page 25, CBD committee. Maybe, given the fact we need to nominate councillors, I'm happy to move the regular resolution if you like. Councillor Downey. Yes, sorry. Yes. Go. You happy to move it? I'm getting a
Yeah.
kind of a.
Yes,
Yeah.
I'll move that.
You second it? Thank you. You speak.
Just to say that I'm happy to support this motion. I want to thank all the applicants who took an interest and wanted to become involved in this new committee. It was definitely a tough choice. As the papers state, we were all given the nominations to score individually before meeting and comparing our choices, and finally coming to agreement on the nominations before the meeting tonight. I, along with the other members of the committee, look forward with excitement at the task ahead and the first meeting of this committee, which will happen in September. This is an important step to begin our journey, having listened to the community's concerns over the past 18 months, and I'm keen to begin. I also like to say that the next part of it is that I feel that Councillor Sharon Delbo has driven this working party and has the support of all involved, along with the Vice Chair, Councillor Paul Smith, and I would like to nominate those 2 to Chair and Deputy Chair without hesitation when we get to that part. Or are we doing that all together?
I was going to do the whole lot
Do it
together, so
together?
I will suggest, I can suggest an amendment, but I'm happy.
Yep.
If the mover and seconder are happy.
Yep.
That we insert the names under dot point 2 of councillor Delbo.
Yes.
And dot point 3, councillor Paul Smith.
Yes. Yeah.
And that was the reason I was saving councillor Delbo.
Yep.
Yeah, you got it. Thank you.
And just one lastly, I'd just like to make a note that the budget for this committee has not been withdrawn from the existing business Cowra. That was the funding that was unused after their decision to close the business hub, and they no longer needed secretarial support. So that is how we've got our budget. And that's it.
Councillor Watt.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm also very happy to both second the appointment of our community members to this committee, as well as to Councillor Sharon Delbo and Councillor Paul Smith as the Chair and Deputy Chair to the committee. As Councillor Downing said, we were overwhelmed by the positive response to the expressions of interest here, and very lucky that there were so many people to consider, though made it a very difficult decision. I think that the response from our community to put their hands up and spend time shows a genuine interest of our community in participating in council matters and contributing to their community. And I hope we can continue to see this in other forms of our strategic plan. As we know, the CBD is the lifeblood of our community, be that attracting tourism, economic activity, socialisation of our community, or employment, and many, many more things. It's people's first view of the town and has a significant impact in encouraging people to stay or choose to live here. I also would like to congratulate Councillor Delbo on pursuing this since beginning in our very first meetings as council in proposing the CBD committee, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what we can achieve. Thank you.
You have a comment? Councillor Kiss. Councillor Kiss.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, look, I firstly want to congratulate those who have been appointed, and I think we've got a long road ahead, and I think we'll be very positive, and I think it will have a great outcome for the community. So I'm very impressed at the efforts that have been going in. But look, just a couple of questions for clarification. Firstly, I mean, I am supportive of the redirection of the funds to go to the CBD committee. I'd love to see them put to good use in the committee. That would be fabulous. But is it going to be a build-up of that 40,000 if it's not used to increase each year? So that was my first question, or does it just then come back to the 40,000 and the rest of the money goes back into council funds? So that was my first question. And also, will the committee need to receive approval from the council for the expenditure initiatives, or is it just up to the committee to make the decision, and then it bypasses council if they want to choose to spend that money? Thank you.
Do you want to answer it, or like if I can answer? No, you can. You have to.
Mr. Chairman, so there's an amount of just over $37,000 in this year's budget under the line item business assistance, so not specifically for the CBD committee, but that's generally where any expenditure that the committee recommends to council that it would incur would come from. Would it be carried over every year? Normally recurrent funding isn't carried over, but there are instances if there's a particular project that might be funded out of it that hasn't yet been invoiced, well, not in those circumstances yet, that subject to the council resolution at the end of each year. And when you carry overs, that's certainly able to be undertaken. But if it's not earmarked for anything in the ordinary course of events, it wouldn't be carried over. Does the committee need approval for every item of expenditure? Depends what it is. Minor things, well, that would fall. I can sign in invoices for various things. Depends on what it is. But if it's anything significant, I'd imagine it would come to council via a recommendation from the committee.
Councillor Delbo.
Thank you, Mayor West. Through the chair, I thank you for all the comments in the room here this evening. I very much appreciate them. I'm so pleased to receive. I'm so pleased that council received the amazing 25 expressions of interest applications for 8 positions. That's a staggering level of participation from the community for this new committee, and it shows to me that we are listening to the one, at least one of the issues in our community. I'd like to let our community know that I am ready, as long as well as my fellow councillors, that I'm ready to kickstart the CBD committee and it's the mission that is ahead. I'd like to thank my fellow councillors for giving me the opportunity to navigate this process going forward and to lead it. This is a brand new committee, and I think it's a very exciting time for our community. Although the road is going to be tough and it's going to be long, as mentioned here tonight, but it's a very exciting challenge ahead. The committee itself is very diverse and it has a comprehensive set of skills. And I'd like to see that the group work on the principles of inclusion, fairness and creativity. The decline of the CBD is not just a Cowra problem. Last week alone, the Inside Local Government e-News, the top story for that publication, had the headline Melbourne revives business grants program as retail vacancy hits a record low. Now, Melbourne has a population of 5.2 million, and if they're going to face problems in their CBD areas similar or the same as what we are here in our town, then obviously we have a bit of a job ahead of us. The next 12 months, I hope we'll see a robust discussion on this, problem solving, the making of a strategy, and to hopefully start some actions and some local solutions to the issues that are occurring in our CBD area. I would also like to thank all who applied. It was a very difficult assessment process, and I encourage those to continue to learn about the project and to participate along the way. There will be further opportunities for members to participate. And I'd also like to just finish off tonight that all of us that are now on the CBD committee, we are now the ambassadors for this program, for this project, and I look forward to working with you all as we move forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further comments? Councillor Wright.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. You know, I support this. It'll be a learning process for all those that are on the committee, and I hopefully the reports back from the committee to council will offer some ideas to the rest of the council committee to act on. I think you got to remember it's a 355 committee, so it'll be like these other committees. They make recommendations and it'll come back to us to whether we support to go ahead. So that as the general manager said, the major expense would still have to be authorised by us. It's not going to be. I don't think you'd want the power to be able to spend money as you seem fit, and I'm quite sure you wouldn't. And most 355 committees have a very limited budget for their cups of tea and a little bit of administration and so forth, and a lot of those committees aren't even told they've got that. I am a pessimist, but I'll try to be positive when I'm a pessimist. It's the only 355 committee where you've got 5 councillors on the committee, and you've got to work with these other ones and listen to be able to gain what they've got to offer, as well as what you might have to offer, and to let it grow, because at a Sale-Yards conference I went to, it was a thing about leadership, and everyone's got leadership abilities, but they haven't got all the abilities. They've got to, and they have to gain them from other committees, and I'm sure you will, but yeah, you just need to be a little bit careful when there's 5 people, when you've got 5 votes, that you don't all go in the same direction, and try not let change happen where you think it might need to happen. That ends my sermon, and I wish you all very well.
Thank you, Councillor Wright. Any other comments? I've got a couple of quick ones to make, and part of Councillor Wright's touched on it. This is a 355 committee, which I think Councillor Kiss was going. The money is a resolution of council whether it be carried over. I don't necessarily see this as being all money being transferred from the business chamber. If the business chamber reforms or gets functional, then we'll obviously be talking to the business chamber as well. So I don't think it's not one or it can be both, not one or the other. This is, and Councillor Delbo's picked up this is not just a Cowra problem. CBDs and retail across the broader landscape are a significant issue in every community I talk to, every council I talk to, rural, regional and metropolitan. So CBDs as a whole, we probably don't have the magic panacea or silver bullet. So this committee, and I know Councillor Delbo is aware of it as chair, that this committee needs to manage expectations. And some of the comments we see on social media about council owning businesses or giving rate holidays or something are probably not going to something that we'll all be very happy to support. So some of those things we need to be cautious to what we present to the community. But I think that this is exciting, and I think it's an opportunity we need to explore it. I'm on the committee, obviously, but those of my fellow colleagues in the committee, I think we've got an interesting task ahead of us. There's some great people in our community who put their hands up. Not all got on the committee for a variety of reasons. We had to get a balance that we thought was fit. So those people who didn't get on, we say thank you very much, and your expertise and your knowledge is understood and appreciated. Probably a couple may not have done me favours by not providing a great deal of information to us to make a decision, or might have even applied in what we saw as the wrong group, because the community group was really about people who are in the community as opposed to business. There was a few things we looked at which may have not differently pitched to us, may have cast a different light on some of the selections. But that said, it's a good committee, and we need to work openly and transparently with this group of people. And Councillor Delbo, good luck. Thank you. It's a council committee, so you got to remember that. Any further comments? Right to reply. Put the recommendation all in favour.
Aye.
Declare it carried. 4.2, Acting General Manager to appoint Mrs. Hackett to be appointed Acting GM 5th of October to 23rd of October, inclusive of the GM's leave. The housekeeping, Councillor Kiss. Not negotiable with the colleagues, so I'll put unless someone wants to make a comment, I'll put we have the utmost faith in the environmental services. So yeah, I'll put the recommendation. I was in favour. Against, declare it carried. 4.3, which is page 32. Note the 6-month review of the delivery program and the operational plan. So I'll move that, please. That we know that Councillor Watt. Thank you, Councillor Smith. Councillor Watt, you need a comment at all?
Yes, I'll make a brief comment. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. For those wondering why we have a very long report in our reports tonight, this is a required document every 6 months to report back on our progress towards our community strategic plan, our delivery plan, and our operational plan. As you can see in our piece here, a lot has happened over the last 6 months, even considering the quite significant disruption to our activities from the floods late last year. We've participated in the launch of Country University Centre. We've completed the development of the 4 murals across town. We've launched the Murph app, which lets you see when you're which bin you've got to do on each week, which is very exciting and very useful for me, and we'll let you do a lot more things in the near future. We've put forward a plan for our renewable energy works at the water and sewer treatment plants, leading by example to our community in our shift to renewable energy. We've signed up with Reconciliation Australia to develop a reconciliation action plan. We conducted a Festival International Understanding with the guest nation of Indonesia. We've launched the Sport and Rec Committee and have a strong group of people participating in that. And we are working on developing a reporting system for our constituent relationship management to identify how it can improve our engagement with our community. There are a number of important programs in the pipeline, such as the West Cowra Sewer and our waste strategy. We do have some gaps in the report, but I think considering the difficulty and the huge amount of work that our team have been doing across the council in flood recovery, that is very understandable. We desperately need some progress on our goals around transport, and I'd call on the state and federal government to consider our proposals here and help us in tackling the transport issues for our community. Overall, congratulations to the council team who worked very hard to implement the strategy that we adopt here at council, and looking forward to the next 6-month report.
Councillor Smith.
Thank you. I highly recommend at least the 3-page summary of council's activities over the last 6 months to everybody who wants to know something of the enormous scope and breadth and indeed depth of activities that council carries out. It's not just water, waste, sewer and roads, it's far more than that. So I think it makes very interesting reading. I'll just add to Councillor Watt's mention of the Country University Centre. They have hit 40 students. I perhaps could have expressed that better. They haven't hit them, which was the target for the end of the year. So that's really exciting.
Any further comments? No further comments. Right reply. I'll put the recommendation. Those in favour. Against, declare it carried. Page 105, Local Government New South Wales Conference motions. There's 2 motions there suggested. We're happy to move those. Councillor Kiss will move those be submitted. The seconder, please, to be submitted. Councillor Judy Smith, thank you. You to speak, Councillor Kiss.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Look, with regard to A, I'll just briefly, for the record, state what it's about. Livable housing standards. From October of this year, all states and territories will have mandated livable housing standards for accessibility in new homes, except for New South Wales and Western Australia. Livable housing standards are basic concepts that create an easier living space in the home now, but also make it more readily adaptable for increased accessibility needs should it be required at any time. These include standards such as wider hallways and reinforced bathroom walls for grip rails and things in the future. And these are difficult and expensive to try to retrofit if they can be done at all. So, and not only do we have a current undersupply of accessible homes, but we have the undersupply will continue to grow if the current rate of voluntary uptake continues. If we want to promote the dream of ageing in place, we must start focusing on the longer term effects of our builds now. New South Wales just simply needs to align the building standards with what most of Australia has already identified as a priority. Thank you.
Seconder wish to speak.
I don't think I could really add to Councillor Kiss's very cogent explanation.
Thank you. Any further comments? Right.
With the disability parking, you remove the word disability and you just have just a picture of what we have now as a wheelchair for parking. You don't put any more words on the sign.
Any further? Sorry.
Yeah, with the housing one, is there any if you're only building a small house, do you still have to comply with these different changes, the wider halls and the wider doors, or will there be a point at a site when a house is over a certain square meterage that they should use these different sizes?
Through the chair, these aren't actually mandated in New South Wales as yet, so we don't know the full extent of what would be proposed if it was introduced as actual legislation in New South Wales. It is anticipated, though, that no matter what size house, you would still have to make it comply with the new standards that have been adopted elsewhere in the country.
Thank you for that answer. It'll work itself out, I suppose. I just have a few concerns with making it mandatory on these internal things and ramps into the houses. If you build a house on a slope and you've got to replace 6 or 7 stairs, you can't have a ramp that just goes up. It's got to be a certain angle or a zigzag thing to get in, and so there'll be things that'll work through the system. I understand the logic of it all, and I presume that's why older houses did have wider wider halls, not just to let the horse in, but in case when they got old they can get around about, because Yeah, so I just, I have, it does concern me if it's going to be legislated, that's all, not encouraged. But I wish you all the well. Thank you.
Councillor Watt.
Just quick point of clarification. The proposal is that it's adopted as part of the construction code, which would just apply to new housing. Is that correct? Yeah. So people won't have to retrofit their home to adopt these. Yeah. It's only part of the National Construction Code, which means that there's no retrofitting to existing houses required. Yeah. It's only when you build new homes. Yeah.
Thank you. Further comments? Right reply.
Just briefly, Mr. Mayor, I do apologise. I did miss part B, and yeah, basically, there is only on those signs. There is only a wheelchair. It doesn't say anything. But if you Google up disability parking permits on that same page, it will continue to flip between the phrasing of mobility parking, mobility disability parking, and disability parking. Now, if we've already accepted the terminology mobility parking scheme, why not just stick with that? We don't really need to keep flicking for exactly the same thing. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll put the recommendation. Those in favour? Against? Carried. 4.5, which is around the just giving notice to council to schedule committee meeting 13th of November 2023 because 6 of us will be at the LG New South Wales conference. Maybe we could have a quorum down there. Councillor Delbo, second to Councillor Downing. Got that one right? The housekeeping, you don't need to speak. I'll put the resolution. I was in favour. Against, carried. The only comment I make there is that it is good to see 6 councillors actually going to this very important conference. Sometimes the community thinks that everybody's going for a holiday and a picnic, but these conferences are very important to network and to see what happens and to meet people and understand the workings of local government. To see councillors going to partake in that brings back a whole new, not necessarily a whole new dynamic, but certainly reaffirms the thinking of many councillors in terms of comparing notes and sharing ideas with other councillors and learning new ideas. The community benefits, I think, immensely from that. So, 5.1, 355 Committee Draft Audit Risk Improvement Committee. Seeing Councillor Paul Smith not here, I probably should move that. Do I get a second? Thanks, Councillor Wright. Happy to answer any questions. The only comment that I would make probably is that in regards to the ARIC changes, we know they're going to change and there'll be more reports come in November. But the time we spent in Sydney last week talking to the local government minister and hearing the head of OLG make a presentation on different days, there would appear to be a little bit of a different thinking into what an audit risk improvement committee might look like. I'm not sure the minister is fully aware of some of the implications that we see. He's certainly been made aware of them. So I think this space could well and truly have some amendments left in it yet. A lot of concern was expressed by county councils, the board, the JO, as well as councils about the makeup and the way the functionality of the ARICs into the future. So I think there's a little bit still to go in this particular debate. So I suggest we watch that very carefully and keep an open eye on it, and probably November we'll have a bit better idea, and I'll say the local government New South Wales conference might also chase a few things out. But the minister certainly spoke very strongly about giving councillors back the power and the authority across the landscape of working in local government. And the ARIC, I think, is probably not quite that vehicle the way I read it. So that's just it. And I think the other one that came up was that that was all really came out of it. But I think it's worth noting, and I'll answer any questions. Councillor Wright, do you want to answer the second? Do you wish to speak at all, or do you? Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Okay. I'm now wide up again, sorry. Councillor Kiss.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Look, just briefly wanted to make note that the ARIC is ensuring that the policies of council are reviewed and updated, and I was just very pleased to see that, so thank you.
Yeah, that was raised or had been a standing matter on the committee. I think there's a whole there's a significant number of council policies and procedures, and they are being reviewed in accordance with their time frame. The Audit Risk Improvement Committee was also assured and confident that even though some of those policies hadn't been updated, they were still relevant and being used appropriately. So, but they will be worked their way through. Yep. Any comments or questions? Further comments? Further questions?
Oh, just a quick comment. It's pretty well covered. Like you can read the items covered there. It's a pretty major job, this RIC committee, and it's good to have outside eyes look at our operations and pick up anything that's not wrong. It just it might have been missed or could be done better. And as in the I don't know, the 2 years or whatever ago, 3 years ago when I was on it, we always had the risk management plan matrix and that, and I thought that was operational back through the council more, but now they're going to develop a new way of putting managing all those risks through the department on a structure. If I read the meeting right last week, and what we're going to do, it's a better way to get the message back into the ensuring that it gets back to all the departments. And it's a pity that all this discussion's going on with the government, because basically the government doesn't trust us and doesn't trust the people that's been appointed to help us carry this out. And I think it's one of the more exciting committees that we have, that we do navel gaze and try and pick up things to do better. Thank you.
Thank you. Further comments? This is my right reply. I think that none of us disagree that there's not a place for RIC committees in some form or other, and just having that external perception of or view of what councils do. This is probably, the concerns are probably more the way it is being brought about. The fact that mayors are not allowed on the RIC committee, that the council is entitled to one delegate but non-voting delegate. That there could be someone employed in council who can actually look over the general manager's shoulder. You got a question why you would employ a general manager if someone's got to look over their shoulder. There's a significant issue around cost, because costs will increase. There's no question of that. And there's also an onus it puts back on the external members of the RIC committee in terms of their compliance. So there's a real risk there in terms of costs. There's quite a small pool of appropriate people with the qualifications who will be eligible to be on the RIC committee as external operators. And that's obviously something that would lead to possible increasing costs of getting the right people on the committee. So I think there's a whole thing. It's not just the RIC committee, it's the way it's been rolled out. So, but I have seen some good benefits in the RIC committee in Cowra in some forms as well. So I'll put the recommendation. I was in favour. Declare it carried. 5.2, donation to Lucy Austin. The recommendation there. Councillor Smith, Councillor Kiss, Councillor seconding the motion. Yep. Councillor Smith.
Thank you, and thank you, Lucy, for your very passionate and wide-ranging talk to us earlier on. This is a really exciting project. It meets all of the eligibility requirements for a donation. It's something that we've done for other organisations, the Stedford, for example, and I fully understand how much it costs, both in hard cash and in time and effort, to stage something like this. It's a very expensive process, and I think we can and should help.
Councillor Tish.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, I fully support this donation. I think it will be an invaluable opportunity for our community. And I would also like to congratulate Ms. Austin on registering a new business, Lemon Tea Theatre. I do like that name, and I hope it's the first of many productions. Thank you.
Further comments? Councillor Watt.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would agree with my colleagues that this is a fantastic project, exploring and building on education for an important part of our history. I think Lucy said it so well that this is looking to peace, unity, and reconciliation. And I don't think I've seen a community project proposed for funding that has met so many parts of our strategic plan. This is such a fantastic. I honestly can't even explain how wonderful it is, including local people, developing skills locally in acting, engaging all parts of our community, all generations of our community in the stories of our past and thinking about how we approach that in the future. Lucy has already demonstrated her commitment to doing this, as she mentioned, at the 75th anniversary, but also with her fantastic children's book, which is high on my list of presents to every small child that comes into my life. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what happens here and very happy to support this.
Further comment?
Yes, Mr Chairman, I commend the recommendation. We don't always give up to 100% rebate on higher expenses to the Civic Centre, but as stated by other speakers and the notes in the application, it is highlighting one of the major historical events that happened in Cowra, and we have built on it to a certain. We tried to build on it in a way that provides reverence to the people that were involved and to build world friendship as part of our ongoing legacy. And it isn't as if this amount of money that we're giving here tonight is going to cover all of her expenses. It's quite clear that she's organising other money to ensure that it happens, and I trust the community and any people that want to be part of that or companies do take on board. And I'm probably wrong, but I think this is really building on. There was a song written by a composer here, and I think Lucy had input into it about the breakout before, and we run around town playing it, but then the youth orchestra come here and played it recently, and so I congratulate her for the work that she's doing and taking it all from her own bat to do something good for Cowra. Thank you.
Thank you for the comment. Right reply. No right reply. I'll put the recommendation. Those in favour? Against, declare it carried. 5.3, donation Japanese gardens. Councillor Smith, will you step into the chair, please, and mind the cords.
Item 5.3, donation to the Japanese garden to assist with expenses of the Sakura Matsuri, and also is the Director of Corporate Services. Councillor Watt, Councillor Wright, did you? Yeah. Yes, yes. You were the first two I saw. Councillor Watt, would you care to say?
Thank you, Acting Mayor Smith. I am happy to support this. I think that it's an important role of the council to support particularly the cocktail reception, which is a significant point of bringing together people of the community and political bodies across ourselves and the Japanese delegations. Sakura Matsuri is a fantastic event that I encourage everyone in the community to make sure they book in their tickets and their bento boxes very quickly, because last year it sold out very, very quickly, and I'm very happy to support this.
Thank you. Councillor Wright, would you like to speak?
There isn't a lot left to say, but this is probably one of the major events that the Japanese garden holds, and it's a very significant event and attracts a lot of people. And but in putting an event like that on, there is a lot of cost behind the scenes, and I think it's in our interest to provide some funding to help it roll on and be a success. Thank you.
Further comments or questions? Councillor Pearce.
Thank you, Acting Mayor Smith. Look, it was just basically noted that the resolution of last year mentioned a specific purpose for the $1,500, whereas this year doesn't, other than just generally hosting the Sakura Matsuri. Obviously, I see no reason to not recommend that as well and pass the recommendation. It was just something of note that it was for general purpose as opposed to a specific event. Thank you.
Thank you. Further comments? I'll put the right of reply. I'll put the recommendation. Those in favour? Against? Declare it carried.
Page 151, 5.4 is donations. It's investment, sorry. Note the investments, financial position. Councillor Judy Smith, Councillor Federer, thank you. Comments? That's all right.
Oh, the only comment I make that in the investments and in the money on call was not far off $40 million. But when we look back through the budget review, there's a lot of money. There is a lot of money that's been granted to us that we haven't been able to expend or are going to expend on flood repairs and so forth, and other programs that have been delayed because of the floods. So therefore, we've had to keep that money, and that's why I presume we have such a large amount of money. Or it's not a large amount of money in today's business world, but it's part of why it's a part of why there is a lot of money in that account. And I'm just very grateful that we are looking after it. Thank you.
Thank you. Further comments? Right reply. The recommendation, those in favour. Against, declare it carried. Page 162. Councillor Dilba, I think you want to do something with this. Oops. 162. It's the policy. 162 is the art gallery. Oh, it's a committee. Sorry, it's not the policies committee. Yep, sorry. You were sleeping, weren't you? You were sleeping, weren't you? 5.5, draft committee meetings, Regional Art Gallery Advisory Committee. Thank you. You're right, you're going to Councillor Downey, thank you. Any comments?
I'd just like to warmly welcome Ron Gillard to our committee. He has been in the shadows of working voluntary at various events of the committee for over many years, and it's lovely to have him around the table and contributing. And I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Thank you. Second wish to speak. Any further comments, question?
Quick comment. Yeah, I'm pleased to see Ron Gillard there. I know he's very good at studying figures, but it's also good that he's got an appreciation of art. Thank you.
I'm sure he'll be a great boost to that committee. He's good, very good. Further comment, right reply, probably not required. I'll put the recommendation as in favour. Against, declare it carried. Now I go to page 167, which is the Regional Art Gallery Policy. Councillor Bilbo.
I'd like to move an amendment, please. The amendment for the draft Cowra Regional Art Gallery Policy to go out on public exhibition for 28 days.
Do we have a seconder? Thank you. And I assume that when you say out on, just to clarify, that this as presented becomes the draft, which includes that one change that's suggested. Yep.
That's correct. So the reason why I'm asking for the amendment is, although it's only one amendment to the complete policy, it's one that I believe is sensitive and requires a clear understanding by our community. And for that reason, I'd like to give the community an opportunity for comment and for us to then bring that policy back into the chamber before final adoption.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Second, wish to speak?
I'd just like to say that I agree with Councillor Delbo's amendment, and that I think that it would be great for our community to read through this and actually comment on it if they have something to say, and let us know.
Thank you. For the comments, I'm happy to support the recommendation, but I know this policy is a current policy commenced in 2020, so it's still well and truly, but I think it's appropriate these changes are made. I'd also add that it gives the Art Gallery Advisory Committee also an opportunity to have a look at it as well, in case they see other areas of concern. Just broad reply? No comments? I'll put the recommendation. Those in favour? Page 181, which is a donation to Connor Moriarty. Recommendation there provides funding. All the relevant documentation's in place. Moved Councillor Downing, thank you. Seconded, please, Councillor Aaron Watt, thank you. Comments?
Just that this is a local sportsman who is asking us for $400. He has been chosen to represent New South Wales the New South Wales State Junior Squash team in the Australian Junior titles. And I think that he's had letters of support, and I think that this is exactly why these donations, and I wish him good luck for the tournament.
Second wish to speak?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would agree. Happy to support this donation. As many of us know, living in the country makes it quite difficult to participate in this level of sport. As we've seen by our young Ellie Carpenter, you can get there though, and hopefully us providing this donation will help Connor go above and beyond.
Thank you. Any further comments? Right reply. Put the recommendation. All those in favour? Against, declare it carried. 5.8, page 186, which is the quarterly budget review, fourth quarter, 2023. Councillor Judy Smith, seconder, please. I'm happy to second that. Councillor Smith, you speak.
Briefly, Mr. Mayor, we discussed it in some depth at our last meeting. I echo the background comments here, which say that the surplus of just over $9 million demonstrates sound budgetary management on the whole range of activities that we do in council, and I thank and congratulate the directors for their care. I wouldn't like councillors or other members of the public to get too excited over a $9 million surplus, though, because unfortunately it's all earmarked and not for the councillors' Christmas party, for a lot more important things.
Thank you. Just a second, I would reaffirm Councillor Smith's comments that looks a substantial surplus, but it doesn't really. It's an accounting process more than. Whilst the cash situation of council is strong and the management's been very prudent, very responsible, it doesn't make a headline which says council is awash with massive amount of money we can spend. It's an accounting process, but it's a surplus. Nonetheless, it shows as a surplus. It means that council's physical responsibility is quite responsible. It's appropriate, looking after the community's interests. But I think that, as we all know, moving forward in our 10-year projections, the surpluses will probably always be around in some form or other, but the cash position and the position of doing business is always getting tighter and more difficult as we go forward, as does every business, and particularly when you're employing 180, 200 people and you have a budget of $50 million. There's always going to be stresses and strains, and when we look at things such as rate pegging at 3.9%, inflation's at 7%. The previous year was started at 0.7, got to 2.5, 2.7%, and again inflation's at 6-7%. It doesn't take a genius to work out that council financial positions are heading the same way as everybody's budget at home. Mortgages, cost of doing business, cost of petrol, fuel, all those things impact on council. So it's prudent, it's really good, but it's not something that everybody's sitting back just collecting money and doing nothing with it. Because we are still delivering the services that our community requires and expects. So I think all in all, we can be quite proud of where we are at the moment and acknowledge the council's contribution over a number of years, but also the contribution of our senior staff and the general manager who watch this very closely. Further comments? Tongue-tied. Councillor Smith, the recommendation was in favour. Declare it carried. 187. Release of council decisions. It's a housekeeping. So I'm with it. Councillor Delbo, Councillor Kiss. I just want to make one comment. If I may, Councillor Delbo, do you have a comment? Just one comment. I know the Aquatic Centre management has been appointed. Wish them well. Look forward to working with them, and just encourage all the stakeholders involved in the pool to work with this management team and to support them. I'm sure that the approach is that it'll be pretty much business as usual, but the community need to support and work with this management team as much as we can expect the management team to work with the community. That's a two-way street. So any organisation, talk to them, but work with them. Right reply not required, probably.
Just a
Councillor
question.
Delbo. Okay, sorry.
The pool will be opening in the long weekend, October long weekend as usual.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Delbo, you move that. Do you have a right reply? I'll put the recommendation. Those in favour. Against, declare it carried. Item 6.1. Director of Infrastructure and Operation, Crown Land Management Reserve. There's a recommendation there in regards to Darby's Falls Recreation Reserve, which is 59687. Councillor Smith will move that. Secondly, Councillor Delbo. Thank you. Councillor Smith.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. This recommendation comes to us because the long-term land managers, being the Darby's Falls Progress Association, are no longer able to physically, due to smaller numbers on the committee and the ageing process, no longer physically able to do the work that is required there. So I note that the recommendation talks about council accepting the invitation to be appointed as Crown Land Manager. It's a bit like accepting an invitation from the mafia, in that you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. Not that damned is really the right word, but it would devolve to council whether or not we accepted it, but we would have no choice as to what happened there, except that we would mow and maintain it. It certainly comes at a cost to council, and the notional costs have been itemised for us, I think come to something like $17,000 annually of ratepayers' money. But given the importance of the facility to the people at Darby's Falls, and indeed to visitors to Wyangala Dam who may pass by it, I think it's right and proper that council takes this on.
Seconder.
I would like to echo and support Councillor Smith's comments. In particular, I want to personally thank the Darby Falls community, who are members of the Progress Association and Urban Land Care Committee, who have been fulfilling this role since 1986. I won't tell you how old I was in 1986, but I was a bit young then.
21, 22.
And I also understand, obviously, going forward, there will be more work placed on us at council, that being a plan of management, which I'm sure there's a long list of those that we need to achieve, and I look forward to getting that when the time is right. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further comments? Councillor Kiss.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Again, I'd like to echo my colleagues here, and I support the recommendation, and I just wanted to make a special note of the efforts put in by the Darby Falls residents, and not only acknowledge them, but congratulate them for caring for the reserve that they have for all these years. Thank you.
Councillor Downing.
Yep, I'd just like to say I support this motion as well, and I look forward to council taking up this role and keeping this valuable service for the Darby Falls community, this valuable recreational ground.
Thank you. Any further comments?
Just a quick comment. I support everything else has been said, but this is also a necessary need that we need to do to help keep the Shire as an attractive way for the whole Shire, not just for Darby's Falls people, but for everyone, because people, there might be a few more like me, but we always pick up the things that aren't done and what is done, and it's on the way into the village and everything else, and people coming from hilltops through the back door into Cowra to do their shopping. And it's good to have it looking good. Thank you.
Thank you. Further comments? Right reply. Put the recommendation as in favour. Against, declare it carried. Page 193, 6.2, water mains renewal program. One recommendation and two bullet points to it, so I'll move that. Councillor Watt, Councillor Kiss. Thank you. Councillor Watt.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First off, I'd like to thank Dirk and his team for their constant work on making sure we're planning ahead to make sure that the services and infrastructure that we have is up to standard. As we can see here, this is a recommendation for us to note the renewal program and our intention to advertise a tender towards that effect to make sure that we are working ahead to avoid the possibility of having a lot of work to do in 1 year. And those looking at the surplus of $9 million may see that this is in fact why, because we're planning for the future and we're spreading out our infrastructure redevelopment over time.
Councillor Kiss. No comment? Further comment?
Yeah, yep, sorry. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This report highlights one of our major assets that was put in mid last century, and everything wears out and we need to upgrade it, and we can get along with minimal upgrade for a certain time, but it comes to we have to bite the bullet and do a little bit more, because we are increasing the amount of water going through our system, so it's just not volume, it could be pressure too, so we need to maintain things so we don't have major outages, and I recommend that we do what we've put forward here to do.
Councillor Smith.
Thank you, and thanks to the director for having prepared a matrix which guides in what order these things will be replaced, and the matrix really looks at the criticality of the asset, its history in terms of breakages, and gives a plan that says we will be doing major and most important work over the next couple of years. So there is a method to it.
Further comment? Like to reply? I put the recommendation as in favour.
Aye.
Against, declare it carried. 6.3, page 198, asset management strategy 2023-24 to 2042-43. I'm not going to comment about the date, Councillor Delbo. I know what you're thinking now. Want to move that recommendation, please? We adopt the asset management plan. Councillor Federer, Councillor Judy Smith, Councillor Wright.
Yes, council has many plans, but this is a crucial plan because it's the maintenance of our asset structure, and it's not just for us. It'd be someone else asking for us, so they can see that we do know what we're looking after and how we're going to do it. But it also forms a basis on how we can adopt our 10-year plan and what we need to put into it. Also, we can make provision for funding it, and also make provision for grants when they come available. And we've got a very complex asset management portfolio, and it takes a lot to bring it together, and so it can be adopted and easy to follow. Thank you.
Councillor Smith.
No.
I'm going to support Councillor Wright in that this is a document which goes well into the future, and the future will change. We don't know what the future will bring, but as the future changes, perhaps, and it will, as it always has done, there'll be a framework and a document which people can actually work off and understand what the changes they're making mean. I think it's a legacy that this council and previous councils can leave to our community and for councils to understand what the assets are, what the age of the assets are, what they might need, when they might need to be replaced or upgraded or reviewed. And without these sort of documents looking forward, I think we're really flying blind and in the dark. I think it's important that we have these sorts of frameworks in which to work. And it's probably dry in many respects. The director might disagree with me. It's probably dry in many respects, but it's that important framework to set our strategic thinking, our strategic planning going forward, and also how we manage the vital assets in our community. And there are, as this report will show, an enormous number of assets and pieces of infrastructure across the entire Shire. The council is responsible for maintaining, looking after, renewing, and we've just dealt with the water mains replacement project, and that's vital that we get that as right as we possibly can. The sewers, another one, our roads, port, sporting fields, parks and gardens, new building, the library, art galleries are all important to our community. So to have this plan, this strategy, is it's not bulletproof. It's not something we have to leave on a shelf and ignore, because it's something that's got to be a document moving forward, and it's not a dust collector. I know the director won't have it as a dust collector, it's a guide. So fully supported, even though, as I said, probably a little bit dry and does take a bit of reading to understand, but it's a good document. So thank you. Councillor Delbo,
Thank you.
you're not going to pick on the end date, are you?
No. Through the chair, I too want to congratulate the staff that were involved in putting this plan together. It is a complex document. It's a heavy read, one that I feel that I probably need to revisit time and time again. What it showcases to me is that it's an integral piece of our reporting, our integrated planning and IP and R. I've always got the IP and R. Thank you. And as a result, this plan feeds into our financial delivery, our workplace, our HR plans, and what we set out to achieve, whether it's on an annual basis or every 4 years. So thank you for putting the time and effort into this, and I look forward to working through it and improving assets to our residents of Cowra and villages. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further comments? No further comments, right? Reply?
Yes, I hope it is a right reply.
Yeah, you can have it. Yeah.
When you do reply, but you're not supposed to introduce new stuff.
This
plan is, when you do read it, it highlights the strain that will be placed on our resources going forward. And in 8 years' time, we've got a projected $30 million water infrastructure renewal, and so we've got 8 years to get our head around that. And if it needs to be it's good to know, but there's some things in there that we really need to make hard decisions on how we're going to go about funding these. Thank you.
I'll put the recommendation. I was in favour.
Aye.
Against, declared carried. No late reports. No urgent business. So I'll take a motion to close the council to deal with confidential matters, and the matters that are considered to be confidential under 10A2B of the Local Government Act, and council has satisfied the discussion of these matters in open council would on balance be contrary to the public interest as they deal with discussions in relation to personal hardship or a resident or ratepayer. And that's item number 10, 10.1, 10.2. One is in regards to request for tender 12/2023. Sorry. Yep. Sorry. Yep. So 9.1 is to deal with, as I said, is the debt write-off West Carriage Pavilion. 10.1 is the request for tender, and 10.2 is the same. So 10.1 and 10.2, request for tender 12/2023 and request for tender 2023, one for road-based supply panel in the Cowra Shire, the other for delivery of storm water drainage projects. Both these matters are considered to be confidential under 10A 2D1 of the Local Government Act, and Council is satisfied that discussion of this matter or these matters in an open meeting would on balance be contrary to the public interest, as they deal with commercial information of a confidential nature that would, if disclosed, prejudice the commercial position of the person who supplied it. Motion to close, Councillor Dorbo. Motion to close, Councillor Watt. I'll put the recommendation. Those in favour? Against? Declare it carried, and we'll close the meeting to the public. Sorry, guys.